would make.
Is that a chick or a dude, Cyber? I couldn't really tell.
I'm pretty sure it's a guy.
All right. Well, I was going to say maybe he's Chukta.
Maybe, I don't know. He could be many things. We know one thing. He likes to be a dog.
What's up, Josh? How you doing, hon? Obviously, maybe Josh, you might even know that person there, the dog person. I wasn't sure what was going on there at first. When they first showed that, I never played that clip before until now, so I wasn't really sure what to expect. Cyberneticshark, but folks, here at the MCU'S Bleeding Edge YouTube channel podcast, we are busted off after a little bit of a sleep period here. A real quick wrap up of Echo season 1, probably the only season, I'm assuming, episodes 3, 4, and 5. If I pronounce it correctly, Tukio, I think, episode 3, Tello, and then Maya, episode 5. Mr. Time Lord, Time Cop, sir, is on his way. As usual, time delay difficulties. Oh, you only hang out with the dog, your friend there on Sundays, Josh? Oh, that's you on Sundays. Oh, I see. When I first saw that person at the window, I thought maybe that they were like the paper, the paper mache person or something like that or whatever. I didn't realize that was a dog outfit in all actuality. But that's actually a really good clip. I like that one. I'm going to save that for future reference. But Cyberneticshark, sir, it's good to be back with you here on the MCU'S Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast. Good to see you, my friend. How are you?
I'm good, sir. Good to be back after our little week hiatus. And it's fun to be back on and talking some Marvel and just having some fun with my bro, Jeff, and Mr. Pop Culture Guy himself, Mr. Time Cop.
Hello, everyone.
What's going on there, Mr. Pop Culture Guy?
Busy day. Today I saw this new Jason Statham movie, The Beekeeper. Very good. Highly recommend seeing that movie. But yeah.
The Beekeeper, huh?
Yeah. Sounds crazy, but it's a good action film. It's definitely a good start for 2024. Okay.
Well, thank you for deciding to leave the year 2077 and joining us on the show. We appreciate it. So we can go ahead and bang out episode 3. Oh, look, Jocelyn Barrett actually saw The Beekeeper. So there you go. You're not the only person, Time Lord, sir. Thank you, Jocelyn. So if you didn't see Godzilla -1, Joss, you should see that in the theater before it goes out. Seriously. But anyway, so guys, what I figured we'd do before we kind of bust off the finale and more of like our typical review style, just to get through episode 3 and 4, I figured I would start off with you, Cyberneticshark. And just basically start off by just asking you for basically your kind of your ups or, your highlights for episode 3 or the goods, right? And then I'll go around to you too, Andres, and then go around and do the same thing with the ills and the bads, right? And then we'll just do ratings. We'll do the same thing for episode 4. I'll switch up the order of the first question on episode 4 just to make things fair. And then we'll kind of slow things down for 5 and do like a season recap kind of deal too at the end with our final ratings for the finale, if that makes sense. The episodes are pretty short. They're very compact. And I just want to say really quick on behalf of everybody on the panel, that's good to see all of my brothers back, just to reflect off of Cyberneticshark. We are the MCU'S Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast. Andres, the pop culture guy, is doing his mutant ability right now, where he's blending into his green screen a little bit here and there, but he's not. Oh, there you are, Andreas. There you are, brother. Good to see you. We got a DC animated film to review next week, brother.
Oh, yeah.
We do. Which one is it, Cyber?
Batman Year One.
Oh, wow. Oh my god, that's the good one. Yeah.
That's what I figured. I figured you'd be happy about that, Andreas. All right, so Cyber, episode 3, Tukia. And before I even get into that, I just do want to point out, thank you for sending me that link earlier, Andreas. That is interesting that what Ryan, how do you pronounce his last name? Is it Neary?
Yeah, Mary.
Yeah. It was interesting what he said from Screen Crush or is it Screen Crush, I think, or Screen Culture?
Screen Crash.
Screen Crush. What he basically explained on a link earlier that Andrea shared with me was that the reason why there was no 6th episode of the series was because of a budget cut, and that's why the finale seemed kind of like choppy, or maybe like a little bit like they kind of rushed it. And why maybe we only saw Daredevil one time, a couple other things too were pointed out along with the budget cut. So I just wanted to drop that really quick, but start with you, Cybernetic Shark. Episode 3, what were your highlights? I guess for the episode, and then I'll go over to you, Andres, and ask you for the same thing.
Highlights. I guess my highlight would have been the return of Fisk at the end of the episode. That was my ultimate like of the episode. Other than that, I found the episode kind of boring. I didn't really care for it. I thought it was an okay episode. The fight sequence at the bowling alley was decent. It wasn't too shabby. So yeah, definitely I'd have to say, the fight sequence at the alley, and then of course Fisk, Kingpin himself returning at the very end, definitely would be my highlights for the episode.
Was it I know it's been a minute, but just to kind of go back in time a little bit and whatnot, coming off of episode 2, where were you at kind of at the point of episode 2 going into episode 3? Were you kind of like just to kind of bring us back? Were you how were you after episode 2? Were you kind of like hanging in there? Were you kind of like lukewarm?
After episode 2, I was like, this needs to get better. I'm hoping it gets better. I was optimistic. I would say definitely I would definitely say I was hanging on a little bit by a thread. And saying, oh, this is the trailer did live up to the first 2 episodes, and I definitely would have to say I was probably right at the kind of the cusp of hanging on and wanting it to get better.
Okay, Mr. Time Cop, Time Lord, Andres, pop culture guy, sir. Episode 3 highlights. Anything you want to mirror off of Cyber from episode 3?
No. I think my other highlight is the skate. Was it the skate alley fight sequence? I think those were the best of episode 3. Like that was where the show became more lively. It was the more long take fight sequence, similar to Daredevil's hallway fights. I thought that was still great. Like that was another highlight after the Daredevil and Echo fight in episode 1. I thought that they just sort of delivered another great action scene, which I was kind of sad, that they didn't continue on with that. The one shot, in the skate alley. I thought that was really great, and I mean the music, and like the like it looked very high budget, just shooting around that.
Rob Zombie.
Yeah, it was the song Dracula, which was such a perfect song, which was so great. So yeah, I thought that was really great. And just seeing Echo kicking ass, that was really great, and just going down with those characters. The guy that betrayed Henry, his death was so brutal. Like I love how he shot him and you saw some blood over his face. That was like brutal, which was kind of neat. But yeah, I thought that part of the episode was a highlight for me, and I still think episode 3 is actually the best of the series. We will get into it more.
We will, and I think you might be right with that.
Yeah. So Overall opinion. I was handy in there. Um, yes. Or what have you done in the hallway? Oh my god, that's very funny.
You're losing me, Joss.
Yeah, Jocelyn.
Oh, now I
Um,
get what you're talking about. The hallway fight. Okay.
yeah, yeah, the hallway fight. Yeah. Um, yeah. So I was hanging in there. By episode 3. I don't think the series like I the series I will say it was lackluster, but it wasn't as bad as some of the other Disney Plus shows. Like this didn't do like we'll get into it. Like I don't think this didn't drop the ball like Secret Invasion did, but it failed to really fulfill its potential as a show. Which we'll get into. I feel like the budget cut completely destroyed the show, and it and made certain ideas just didn't work, like the Echo's new powers. I feel like if we had more time to spend on the Echo powers, I think it could have worked, but unfortunately, it just doesn't work. Unfortunately,
Oh,
and I agree.
the glowy powers.
Yeah, well, I no, like in general, I like the idea of how it's kind of funny. I like how they literally made the name Echo literally in the powers. Like she can echo into the past of her ancestors. That is actually a cool concept, but in execution, it just didn't work. And I don't know, like I don't, I don't like the glowing hands. Like you don't need to do that. I don't know why they chose to do the glowing hands.
I
I
shouldn't
don't.
have mentioned the glowy hands. I'm going ahead. I'm going way down the road already.
Yeah, but yeah. Besides that, that was the point where I kind of lost my interest in the show. But we'll get into more of that later.
Okay. And now, where were you at after episode 2? Were you still were you hanging in there? If I remember correctly, you were pretty much on top of Echo and thought it was pretty decent at that point, weren't you?
Yes, yeah. I just addressed it. I was ending in there until just towards the end of episode 5. I will say, but it wasn't that bad. I will say, like it didn't like lose me like Secret Rachel did, but it it was still disappointing.
Okay, and Cyber, just to throw in too, just to kind of pepper in a little bit of a seasonal, sort of question to add in to the volley, I guess. What did you think of the cast? Because there really isn't much of a cast in this show, in terms of characters that are in more than, well, let's say 3 episodes, right, out of the 5. You've got Alec Cox, right? That played Maya Lopez, Echo. You've got Chasky Spencer, that was Henry Black Crow Lopez, the guy that owned the what do you call it? The rink that worked for Fisk. You had Chula, Tantu Cardinal, who we've seen in multiple films. She was in that Scorsese film, right, with Leonardo. I think she played the mother in that one too, actually. Not the grandmother, but the mother. We saw Charlie Cox briefly. That was kind of a tease, if anything. Bonnie was Devery Jacobs. I think she was the cousin. And then, of course, you had Zane McLaren was William Lopez. He played the father, of course, that was killed in Hawkeye. And then, of course, there was Cody Lightning, who was Biscuits. Graham Greene, who a lot of us have seen in other stuff, was Scully, the grandfather figure to Maya, who owned the pawn shop and made her new leg. And then, of course, there was Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk. And then that was pretty. Those were the named characters. What did you think of the cast?
So Graham Greene, which I've been watching for many years now, I love him. He was probably one of my favorite characters they got to come to be in this show. Besides him, the really only other character I really liked, was the brief appearance by Charlie Cox, and then of course D'Onofrio as Kingpin. Everyone else I thought was mediocre, very bland, very like nothing great. they all, the same thing with the girl that played Echo from when we saw her in a Hawkeye. Same thing to this. Like she developed a little bit more in this because it being her own show, but still, I think the acting just isn't as great as a lot of people are seeing. I don't know what they're seeing. I just don't think she's anything that great. And she plays the one same face pretty much the whole entire series too, as well. So I just didn't feel like she was really any better than she was in Hawkeye. And then the rest of the supporting cast, I mean, they were pretty much, there. The guy that played Biscuit, Cody Lightning, he was okay. I mean, he wasn't horrible. But at the same time, I didn't think he was anything, spectacular. The gal that played the grandmother that was also in Killers of the Flower Moon, she just annoyed me. Just her whole personality, her whole thought process of the whole episodes, and I just found her annoying. And like I was saying, really the highlights for me are with Graham Greene and Fisk himself. They both of them is what really kept pulling me into the episodes, is watching them, because both of them are fantastic actors. And I think that everyone else just kind of faded into the background. And if you're a huge fan of the original Daredevil series and, with Vincent D'Onofrio's performance of Kingpin in that series, I think a lot of people came back because they saw that he was in this and watched it because of him. He was probably the main reason why a lot of people wanted to watch this, because he was so good as Kingpin. So even D'Onofrio, even though he still did a really good job in this, his character really was changed quite a bit from the Daredevil series. And so I think even his portrayal was a little mediocre to an extent. Even though D'Onofrio, I think, is an amazing actor, I just don't think they gave him the writing he wanted to. And like everyone has said, we kind of mentioned how, the finale of this kind of felt, short and sweet to the point. And there was definitely more that they could have, talked about, what, as you guys were talking about the whole new power that they gave her. Basically, this series was originally supposed to be 8 episodes. So they cut off 3 episodes to get it down to the 40 million mark that it ended up costing. So that right there, I think those 3 episodes probably could have helped evaluate or make it a little better than it was. I think no matter where we got to, I think still overall this series would have been a disaster anyways, just for the fact that you didn't have high caliber actors in this, like Charlie Cox was throughout the whole entire, thing of Daredevil, or Jessica Jones, or, any of those characters that were any of those other Defender series before this came along. They all had very strong lead characters. This show did not. And so even if they gave Alea Cox those other 3 episodes, I still don't think she would have been any better. So overall, I think D'Onofrio and Graham Greene were the best of the series.
Mr. Andre is a pop culture guy. Same question, and that's actually something that Ryan Neary actually also mentioned too. Was that really when this was supposed to be our first of the new R-rated Marvel series, right? Which is important, right, to a lot of us and whatnot that are looking forward to stuff like Blade and Ghost Rider and the Midnight Suns and stuff like that down the road. Like those of us that are really looking forward to those that really dig the grounded, Earth. The Punisher is a big one, of course, probably maybe the biggest one, right? Who maybe they could have popped him in the series if they would have had the money, or or the room or the space. But this was supposed to be, this was our first, where they put it on Hulu too, and it was, TVMA and all that stuff and whatnot. And really, other than what Andreas, what you mentioned, with the death of the one character or whatever and whatnot at the rink in episode 3, him, and then when Fisk had the interpreter killed or whatever it was or whatever, and the people in the room in episode 4, whatever it was, I think it was, where he had those people killed. Other than that, there really wasn't that much gratuitous violence in the series. I didn't think that, and the fight scene at the rink. But what'd you think of the cast?
I like the cast. I really enjoyed them. I disagree with Saber. I think everyone was great in their roles. The thing that was the issue for me is that some of the characters just weren't developed or didn't have time to shine as like certain characters did. Like the cousin, Bonnie, they completely dropped the ball on the like Maya and Bonnie relationship. Like we didn't like that. I think felt like the most like important aspect of the show, but then it just felt flat towards the end because we didn't have time to spend with them, like rekindle as cousins, and I feel like that was one of the things that was like kind of the issue. Um, and I mean, also the other issue I will say that I think for me that Kingpin was definitely the highlight this series. I think that Vincent D'Onofrio was really great. I think he was a great asset to the show, and I think it made the show better. I think he's definitely I mean, despite the writing wasn't on par as the Daredevil series, I think this was way better than Hawkeye. I felt like this show knew a little bit better on Kingpin's more psychological side than Hawkeye did, because Hawkeye, didn't do like because we seen scenes of like his background from like
I
first
get what you're
season.
saying. You're saying that Hawkeye, that Kingpin was better in this that he wasn't Hawkeye.
Yeah, but I agree with Saber that the writing wasn't on par with Daredevil, like in terms of like the dialogue and all that, But I think his presentation here was much better than Hawkeye, so I would give this show a benefit of that. But I wish we saw more of Kingpin in the show. I felt like he had the present and just overall frightening menace that some Disney Plus shows villains just didn't have. Um, but but yeah, I think it's that. But the other cast, I really enjoy. I mean, they didn't annoy me as like certain characters do, like like the Thor cast, the first two films, like with Darcy and Savick in the first two, like with the Earthbound stuff that didn't really work there. Here, the comedy was like very neutral with certain characters. Like I like Biscuits. Like he served as a good comedy relief. It wasn't like a big deal. Like he didn't do like these awful slapstick that I mean none of us really like in the MCU. Like I feel like that was one of the things that could have hurt the show. But none of that. I thought the cast was good. I don't think they didn't have a chance to shine, and some important relationship didn't get paid off towards the end of the finale. So that's the big issue. If we had more episodes, I think they could have been much we could have liked more of the cast more if their relationship with Maya was pay off better, but it didn't, unfortunately, because of budget reasons. So, but yeah, that's my thoughts. And I was happy to see Kingpin. So I was very happy, and at least he was handled better in this show. But I agree with Saber. The writing was, not good with Kingpin, but it was much better than Hawkeye.
Well, I think that's a good point to make. I think that they did a better job handling Kingpin than they did in Hawkeye too. But then again, they gave him a lot more screen time than they in this series than they did in Hawkeye, right? So like, and he was prominent
That's
in the
true.
trailer, right? Like in the trailer, he was very prominent. So like, if anything, if you were a Marvel fan, like Cyber said, if Vincent D'Onofrio was the draw for you for the series, right? Like off the trailer, I can see why a lot of people out there probably were disappointed, maybe, at how at the usage of him, kind of sparingly. But Cyber, going back to you, sir, episode 3, just, I mean, you already basically, flat out said that there weren't a lot of highlights for you in the episode. So I don't want you to like tear the whole thing down, but what were the sort of like the fault points for you in episode 3? Right. And then I'll go over to you on the same question, Andres.
Overall, I just didn't think it was anything that great. To be honest, that's all. Nothing more to it. Like I said, the fight sequence at the bowling alley was pretty decent. As we saw from the trailer, it was okay. That was pretty decent. And then, of course, We had a the return of Fisk at the very end. So I mean, overall, I just think the episode was stellar to me. As Andre said, he enjoyed all the actors and actresses in this. He thought they just needed better storytelling or more about them said. I don't think that would have worked really, because none of these characters would have had a long enough time to really flesh out these characters' personalities. These characters, you literally would need 4 or 5 seasons really to flesh out all these characters. So, I unfortunately have to disagree with him there, where even in this episode, you could have changed some elements to get a little bit more of these certain characters. But at the same time, certain characters take many films to be able to flesh out properly. I mean, look at Captain America, look at Iron Man, look at, all these different characters that took several films to really flesh out and give a really good kind of a hold on who they were. And because by the time we got to Endgame, we knew who Tony was. We knew who Cap was. And so with these characters, and I'm sorry, but a lot of these characters I think were just thrown in to get people to go, more Native Americans. That's to me what these characters were in this series. I don't think they were picked for their acting ability. And how they threw them in there and gave them that kind of like very crappy writing didn't allow them to showcase maybe they have better acting abilities. But when you were thrown in there and you were just put there as kind of show, you don't get to show that. So that's hence kind of the reason why I would say that I don't think even if they got those 3 extra episodes, I still don't think we would have gotten to know these characters as good as we could have. And even if the writing is phenomenal, really done well, you still have to have a lot more than 3 episodes to fully encompass that. And to go back to how you were talking about Hawkeye there for a moment there, like saying that Kingpin, you liked him better in this versus in Hawkeye. I personally think that in Hawkeye, we didn't get a lot of Kingpin. And so I think you can't really judge that compared to this, because if you think about it, this series is more about Kingpin really kind of being refreshed versus Echo. Even though it's called Echo, it's really the Kingpin show, this restart of a Kingpin show. So in Hawkeye, he did a good job for what little time he had in that show. And so I think that was a better performance by him, simply for the fact that little encompassness, it really worked really well for at that time. And so I'm not saying that he was horrible in this at all. I'm not saying he did crappy. I think he was one of the best parts about this series. And so I just think that those little accoutrements, those little things, those little nitpicks are really you're really gonna kind of think about them, and that's how you're gonna come to the conclusion, oh, maybe there's more to it than I see. And that's why I think that, hence why this has become kind of one of those shows that just wasn't, it could have been so much better. And this particular episode, I think, was just kind of, it's, I really enjoyed the fight sequence, and I wish the fight sequence had been longer. I wish it had been more of the episode. And then how we were talking about how this is one of the first R-rated, TV shows that they put out through the MCU itself and through Disney. I think that, it was very lackluster for that point, because if you go back and look at any of the R-rated Netflix, Marvel character series, they were bloodier than hell. All they were was blood and guts. They really just they went to town. I mean, the Punisher alone was truly the Punisher. So how little slow and how kind of lameless, lame-tastic, as I would like to call it, the fighting and the gore in this, it just did not encompass how a true R-rated MCU film should have been, or TV show. So to not over dissect, like I said, this episode itself, I think, was just kind of there in a filler.
Sorry about that. I muted myself there for a minute because Dodge was barking. No, and I think you made some good points there. I think that just to pitch in a little bit on episode 3, for instance, with one character that I actually did enjoy was the Chosky Spencer character, the Henry Black Crow Lopez, Maya's uncle that owned the local roller skating rink, right? We'll talk about this, later on in the show, but I felt like episode 3 was a strong episode for him. As far as like her going back home and the characters back home that I liked him, the actor himself playing that character. I thought he did a great job. But then they only had so much to give us there, right? Like with him, and we know what happened with him with the finale there, with his Olympic, shot there. But like Andreas, I think Cyber makes a good point. Going over to you, that when you have characters like that, the secondary characters, it does take seasons almost to flush them out or give them like any real, get them out of the jar. You know what I mean? Like for you to really look at Daredevil. If you don't know who Deborah Ann Wall is, right, or the actor that plays Foggy, right, if you don't know them from Adam, or whatever, whatnot, and you come in and watch Daredevil, you got to watch Daredevil for more than one season to kind of fall in love with those characters. I kind of feel like.
It sort of depends. For me, I think it's always the actor who plays the character. Like a good example of this is Owen Wilson's character Morbius in Loki. Like I fell in love with that character right away when he started to interact with Tom Hiddleston Loki.
You fell in love with Morbius?
Yes, I mean all of us do. I mean, come on. I mean, in the trailer when he started talking to Loki in the elevator and he say like talkie, like right at the bat, I thought that was amazing. Or in WandaVision, I don't know what Cyber's opinion or yours, Jeffrey, and we did the rewatch, but I thought that Catherine Hanna's Africa was very fun character, and when we got the reveal she was the main villain was really great, and I thought she really elevated that character more. But no, I agree with Saber. Like, no matter like how many episodes, I think I do agree with Saber that the characters just didn't hit right, like in terms of like connected, like the cousin, Bonnie, whoever. Like I didn't like her in episode 3. Like I felt like her, trying to the rekindle between her and Maya was okay. It just wasn't. Oh my god. Morbius, no. By the way, speaking of the Beekeeper movie, I saw Man Web, the trailer, and I was like, oh my god, why they put that trailer in that movie? I don't understand that. Anyway, I definitely took Morbius out of Man Web anytime day. But anyway, I thought that her character was like she really just dropped into episode 3, and she was just completely useless in episode 3. Like I, why we needed her? Like she was just another character to just like push forward. Echo, like we not like another hostage after Henry. Which, come on, I thought she was kind of like very useless in episode 3. In my opinion, I agree with you, Jeff. Henry was really the best highlight of episode 3. I think he was actually the MVP for this show for me. I thought he had a lot more, like, that was the character that I felt like what they should have done with the other characters, like more depth, like more complexity, and like very interesting relationship with Maya. You know, I he was a good guy, but like he also had like a dark past, and like he had also connections to the Kingpin, which was very interesting. Because he was running the shipment for the Fisk shipment, so that was really intriguing. So he wasn't a good guy. He was in that gray area, which was very intriguing, and I wish the show spent more time with him because I thought he was the best character. What else that was going on? That did bug me.
Did you dig the whole Tuklo deal, the flashback with the light horseman and all that shit at the beginning of the episode?
Oh man, that's a good point. I don't know. I don't think it was as fun as you like having this trouble of getting the hockey concept from episode 2. I have to say, I mean it was funny. Like I just it wasn't like that level of like, oh my god, I wonder what Jeff would think about this. I mean, it was fine. I didn't mind it. It was like very classic, like silent, radio, like cowboy kind of film. So like I did have fun with that. But that's the thing. Like I don't want to go forward, but like I didn't mind these like cold openings of the ancestors. I thought they were intriguing. Like I felt like they were the best part about the show, and I just wish we had more episodes to like expand upon it. But yes, Cyber, I'm sorry. I actually like those cold openings. I mean, like I'm giving a better depth of the show. I think the cold openings were fun. They were more creative than what we got. But anyway, I didn't mind the cold opening of that, the shootout. I mean, she was a good shooter. Like, I mean, you had to give her that. But it was funny how Maya tapped into that. It was like kind of funny how she just all of a sudden was like good at shooting. And it's like you don't have to shoot. You're a professional hit woman for a long time. It's like why you need like
She got cunning from her or something like that or whatever, whatnot. That was what she gained from Tuklo or whatever.
Okay, all right. Because I was like, why? It's like
It helped her sense danger.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, okay, but yeah, see, exactly. Like I get that, but like she doesn't need that to detect the danger.
It's like a spider sense.
Oh, I
Peter
see.
Tangle.
They're crossing it over the Madam Web.
Actually, I'll take Echo over Madam Web any day because I am not ready for it. Anyway, so I thought Henry was the best part about episode 3. The worst part of episode 3 was Bonnie, the cousin. I just thought she was just a blank paper of a character, really, and the show didn't do not much with her character, unfortunately.
Okay, you want to give me a rating for right there? What? So I already have you there anyway. Do you want to give me a rating for episode 3?
Sure. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I think it was really good. I enjoy it. I think it's actually the highlight of the series. I think it's the best one. Just in terms of why I give it just a 9 out of 10 is just because I thought that there were a couple of things they could have done better, like expand more about the grandma a bit more, or did do more with Bonnie, the cousin, to interact more with Maya, all that. But it's a great episode. I think it was that's what the show I wanted this show to be in the next 2 episodes, but we didn't get that. But at the same time, I wasn't disappointed in the next 2 episodes, but it was just disappointing in the finale. But we'll get into that. But 9 out of 10.
Cyber?
5.
Okay. I'll give it. I think that's fair. I'll give episode 3 a 6. And it's only going downhill from here, baby. So that 6 is going to be that's a hard 6 as they call it in the gambling game.
Is it as hard as White Vision's penis?
It's almost as hard as White Vision's penis. Depending on the day of the week. What White Vision's penis is very sensitive. Depending, it could be Thursday or the weekend. It just depends. Seasons also affect it too. So if White Vision is in, if he just got out of the cold shower, it's not going to be too hard. He is male at the end of the day. But good joke though. I was watching American Dad the other day, and American Dad's what's his name, Stan's father, right, is talking shit to Stan, and he's like, "God damn, it's too bad you got your mother's penis," or whatever to Stan. That was a good one, I thought. I really like that one. That's a good your mother's penis. Anyways, sorry about that. So I'm gonna play this trailer really quick and whatnot and everything, right? Because I want to see it one more time. Because it really had me jacked for this fucking series when we first saw it. Unfortunately, I think it's gonna be kind of like now that we've watched the whole thing, it's not really gonna connect or hit quite as hard as it did. But I think it'd be nice to watch it one more time. So I'm going to go ahead and play it real quick. And then we'll just real quick knock out episode 4 and kind of do episode 5 and wrap up the season. Get out of this bitch.
Maya. I see everything that you are. I always have. Don't be afraid. So much pain in you. So much rage that you can't contain it. You and I are the same. So, who's the monster?
God damn. What do you think, guys? What do you think, Andreas? That's a good ass trailer, huh?
Yes. We we hadn't discussed this, but the release date, what has say like this was the first of the Disney Plus shows that dropped all the episodes in one day, and speaking of the Screen Crush, I never thought about this, but it was kind of suspicious that Disney did it, and it just showed that the lack of confidence they had with the show, which is kind of a shame. And because I think if they spread out the episodes from the show for like at least 5 weeks, I think there could have been more talk about the show, give it more momentum, because the show it isn't that bad. Like it is like it's not top tier, but like I feel like it's in a good, it's heading us in a good direction for the MCU to like restart after what happened last year. But I feel like Marvel and Disney just dropped the ball and like just made it worse for Marvel Studios. So like now it's more pressure in Deadpool 3, but that's a different story. But yeah, I think it was very kind of noticeable the fact that they dropped all the episodes, because it's like no confidence all with the show, which is sad. But wait,
Well, I think that No, I was going to say it was just that I think that we at this point now we just have to take into consideration, and I think everybody that out there that for the most part that here's what we have to say about these things already is very aware of the taint of other shows and other films and whatnot and other projects in the MCU and with Disney and whatnot and everything on these properties, right?
Yeah.
And how that impacts them. Some of them, I mean, there's things like them, dropping all the episodes in one shot, but there's a reason why the budget was cut, right? And it has nothing to do with Echo.
No. It's just, yeah. It's just like now Disney's trying to cut corners and like try to save money, which is understandably because they're spending way too much money on certain projects. But like, it's like
the way I'm actually kind of happy about it, to tell you the truth. Cyber, I don't know how you feel about it, but I like the fact that it's one of those 50-50 kind of things, right? It's unfortunate to have to see a character not work out maybe as well as it could have. That's a part of a cinematic universe type deal, like the MCU, that's all interconnected, where you've got other characters, in their shows like Kingpin and whatnot, right? Where that character is going to be impacted by the performance of the series. Where we like Kingpin, we like the Netflix stuff. We want to see more Kingpin in the MCU, and we'll talk about that end credit scene in the finale. And they already basically set up what a lot of us already kind of were figuring was going to happen with Kingpin in the MCU anyway, with this Echo season, and with that end scene there, in terms of him becoming the mayor and whatnot and everything, and possibly coming up with some kind of law, to make it criminal to be a mass vigilante type deal. Or be super powered or whatever, whatnot, that kind of type deal. And we can talk about that in another show. But Cyber, what do you think? Last time playing the trailer, I mean, they did manage to get everything we saw was in there, right? But I mean, really though, like it really didn't. The trailer did not showcase really the season, that did not mirror the series very well, did it?
So no, it did not mirror the season very well. It basically gave you the highlights of really the good parts of the show. And, it kind of gave you a little bit of the Indian background that they were going to showcase in the show too. The Native American heritage that Echo has inherited from these several women have given her this new power that they decided to go with. And, I think I mentioned this last time, is the creator of the show specifically said, she stated in a statement, said that the reason why Echo's powers were changed is because she thought they were stupid. And that's why we got this stupid Native American heritage power that we got in the series. Now, don't take that the wrong way, people. I'm not saying Native Americans are bad. I'm not saying anything's wrong with Native American heritage. I'm just saying in this instance, I just think it's stupid that they decided to go this route with this character. And that they changed a great character that we have loved from the comics, that everyone was looking for. They were looking for a taskmaster type of person that can duly combat whoever she faces. And that's what Echo's powers were. And just because one person decides I don't like that and decides to completely change it, we all have to watch something that we're like, why? Like, how did this make it better than what she already had? And that's kind of the point about what I'm saying, is that it did not enrich it whatsoever. Now, yes, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be very happy about the Native American heritage that they're going to be describing in this series, that they went over, that they did. And that's great. For those who love that kind of stuff, that's great. There's nothing wrong with it. And I'm saying that, there's nothing wrong with learning about that stuff or anything like that. All I'm saying is that in this instance, it did not help this series out at all. And the fact that, they decided to go that route, Disney, once again, once again, I think showed, like as we have said, why they dropped all the episodes at once, why they cut funding on this, because they realized, after they saw the completed product, they probably were like, I don't think this is going to do too well. I don't think this is going to be as successful as we think it is. And this person that created it, I don't think she understood that they have a huge market of all different types of people that want to watch this, you know? And that's kind of Disney's problem over the last 3 years, is they're so fixated on doing particular people, particular things, that has alienated anybody else that wants to watch these products, and does not allow them to enjoy the product just like the others do. And that they're kind of doing the same thing as they're trying to say that majority of the projects do, is alienate certain people. So I think that the whole concept could have been so much more well, conceived. But anyway,
would that be Sidney Freeland? Is that who you're is that who you're talking about? Or was that Alonzo?
Creator. No,
the creator.
The creator of the series.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, that trailer is really a great trailer. It really is. It really works well. It does a good job. I enjoyed it the first time I watched it. I enjoyed it this time I watched it, but it did not mimic what we saw in the series whatsoever. And it comes to the point where you start to dislike things because they're pushing some sort of like thought process on you. And I felt that's just how I kind of felt about how this whole series ended up becoming. And unfortunately, this trailer, which was a fantastic trailer, just did not voice that.
Oh shit! What's up, DJ? How you doing, brother? Long time no see. Good friend of ours, Mr. DJ over at DJB Productions. Tell Jay we said what's up. Tell the rest of the team we said what's up, DJ. Now, honestly, Cyber, they tried to like excuse away the whole not going with the comic book accurate powers, as they didn't want to copy Taskmaster after they already did Taskmaster, but they didn't even do Taskmaster comic book accurate, right? So like that doesn't even make any sense. That's ridiculous. That literally that like for that to be the reason. Thanks, DJ. For that to be the reason to fucking not keep the character comic book accurate because it's stupid to them or whatever, whatnot, everything. When it literally in the comics, it we love you too, DJ. It in the comics, Echo's abilities are what makes her able to combat Daredevil. That's what makes her able to be able to fight at his level, is because she has a similar sense-orientated fighting style, right? That's based off her deafness, her disability. Right? Like now they could have went with that. It's funny they don't ever really mention that she has a disability, right? But she does. Right? Now they could have highlighted that if they wanted to, instead of having to go with all the Chuck Dawes stuff, right? They could have done that, but either way. All right, so guys, episode 4, right? And I'm just going to do a quick synopsis really quick and whatnot from Wikipedia, just to kind of do a quick rundown of what episode 4 is. It is Taloa, or Talo. And in 2008, a young Maya is verbally abused by an ice cream vendor who fails to understand her request for ice cream. He doesn't know that she's deaf. An enraged Fisk retaliates by brutally attacking the vendor. Although Maya witnesses this, she shows no remorse and kicks the vendor as payback for his cruelty. Several years later, Maya is about to begin working for Fisk when he offers a final lesson. They can only trust one another. While they finish their share of dinner, Fisk's ASL translator is dismissed and soon killed. Fisk gives Maya an augmented reality contact lens so they can communicate without an ASL interpreter. Tells her that he will give her his criminal empire if she agrees to return with him to New York, giving her one day to decide. Maya shares this with Henry, but receives an abrupt vision of her ancestors at the Choctaw Powwow festival grounds. Chula receives the same vision. Henry takes Maya to see Chula, who tells her that her ancestors helped them when they need it most, recounting a vision that she received when giving birth to Maya's mother. Maya leaves in anger, feeling abandoned by Chula as a child. Chula later begins to work on a special garment. That night, Maya goes to Fisk's hotel with the intention of killing him, revealing to her that he killed his father after seeing him beat his mother. Fisk tells her to make good on her threat if that is what she needs, but she rejects this. He repeats his invitation to join her in New York, but is enraged to find out this morning that Maya has left Tamaha without him. So, going with you right off the bat, Andreas, episode 4. What are your highlights from episode 4, if any?
Okay. I will say, this is definitely the weaker episode. Really the best part about this episode is really the flashbacks, where we see Kingpin and Maya. Like, I think that's the more engaging part of this episode for me. So, the ice cream scene, that we're expecting that. I think that definitely delivered for me, and it was a big highlight. So, because again, besides the betrayal guy in episode 3 with the headshot being bloody, this was very brutal. Seeing Kingpin being aggressively to this ice cream man to a pole and see him so bloody, towards the end of the scene was spectacular, and I thought they did a good job with that. And then seeing little Maya being so non-phased about the violence, and then it was a little funny when she comes to to Kingpin, she kissed the guy, the ice cream guy, and that was funny. It's like, yeah, you deserve that. And then Kingpin holding Maya was kind of cute in this really bizarre and evil way. So I think that was the highlight for me for this episode. But in a very, just filler episode again.
Okay. Cyber, any highlights for episode 4?
I have to agree with Andre there. In this episode, the flashbacks were probably the better part of the episode, especially the beginning sequence there where Kingpin beats up that ice cream guy. That was freaking fantastic. I loved that. One of the biggest highlights, I think, of the series for me. I just thought that felt like the classic Daredevil show. And that I feel was Fisk's best performance of the whole episode. Then I would definitely highlight that giving her the augmented, I think, to do the ASL was very interesting too. I thought that was kind of unique and different. And, I think that was, pretty interesting too as well. Going back to everyone talking about the uncle, who, I do have to agree, the uncle was a better one of the actors out of the crew, I thought, and he definitely had a pretty decent, character arc in the series, and I did enjoy his his interpretation of everything and how he was dealing with Maya throughout this episode as well. But like the whole concept and that we got, quite a bit of Fisk in this episode. I think that was another highlight for me for this episode. So I think overall lots of great, little bits and pieces with these flashbacks and then a couple okay performances. Overall, I think that, it made it a okay episode. I did enjoy this one a little more than the previous episode. Only for the fact that we just got more Fisk and because of the kind of the good flashback there at the very beginning with that good beat down.
I emotionally connected to this episode more than episode 3, without question. I definitely did. I emotionally connected when Henry apologizes to Maya for not being there for her when she was a child, and admitting that he was confused and scared and everything and whatnot. I thought that was actually very authentic. And of course, Echo's response was like one of her usual pouty faces or whatever and whatnot, right? Which makes you wonder, I mean, like, if she could talk, Andreas, do you think that she'd be better than Brie Larson as an actor if she wasn't deaf? or is she pretty much like?
No. I mean, the actress is better. I mean, she's deaf, so I think she was better not talking than Brie Larson. I'm sorry. I think Brie Larson needs to like sip it and allow her manager to give her lines to like say properly instead of just like attacking people, and that the whole audience is attacking her. Like it's just too much. So
What do you think, Cyber? Do you think that that if Alka Koss could talk, she'd be better than Brie?
That's a hard one. They're kind of on the same level for me. I mean, I think Alka Cox, if she could talk, her voice would be a little deeper than Bree's. So you might get a little more masculine energy from Alka versus Bree, kind of that feminine, high, kind of handsome voice. So I mean, you could go any direction with this, really.
Did you guys see the advertisements for the Marvels going on Disney Plus yet? How they're framing the whole movie is now about Miss Marvel. It's the Miss Marvel. It's not the Marvels anymore. It's Miss Marvel.
Really?
Yes.
I'm not shocked about it. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They edited the trailer way down to a whole different trailer now for Disney Plus.
Oh my god. I mean, to be fair, I mean,
you only see Brie and Monica in like cut shots where they don't talk.
Oh my god, I need to see this. This is so funny. But anyway, I'll take Miss Marvel than those two. I'm sorry. I mean, Miss Marvel was the best thing about the Marvel, so it's like, hey, she was the best thing about the Marvel. So
just see it. Wait till you see it. I'm telling you, wait till you see this trailer. It's all you see in this 45-second trailer, or whatnot, everything is the the Khan family, and Miss Marvel, and then like you hear Samuel L. Jackson talk, but you don't ever hear. You only ever hear Captain Marvel say one line, and it's when she's at Kamala's house, and she's like, "Oh hey," and that's it. There's no Monica. Don't even talk. I don't think you even see her in the trailer, except for in that like really bad final battle. But going back over in your direction, Mr. Andre's the pop culture guy. Episode 4, if you want to give me your rating, and then just kind of where did episode 4 fall down for you? I felt like, I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm not sure if you can have a filler episode in a 5-episode miniseries. Maybe you can, I'm not sure. But in general, I felt like this is episode 3. It felt like they still were maintaining a bit of a flow, right? Episode 4 is where I felt like it really got rushed. Like they really rushed things.
Yeah, like it's weird. Like I agree with you, Cyber. Like it felt rushed. Like particularly the way we're rushing to the powers, and then like inconveniently wouldn't give her a costume or sort of a costume, I guess. But I don't know about that when we get into episode 5. Yeah, it's just I didn't care. Like it was funny. Like I didn't care about any of what was going on with the other characters' lives except for Henry. Like I care more about Henry stuff, where I didn't care about what was going on with the grandma. I mean, despite they were talking, like I was happy that Maya and the grandma got like patch up their relationship, but it felt very rushed, and like it just didn't earn that, and then there was other things like that. So it was really rushed with the relationship stuff in the Maya's family, except for Henry. Henry I like more of, but then you got the flashbacks, as I brought up, and that was the best part about the episode, because we spent more time like understanding Kingpin and Maya's relationship, and that was the cool part about the build up to the series, and that delivered. I'm very I'm very grateful about my rating here. So let me give it to you now. Here, it's been a while, so here we go. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10 raccoons. That's right. I don't know why I'm saying that. It's just me being funny now. So I'll give this episode a 7. Blurry. Hold on. Sorry, folks. I'm being very funny here. So here, a 7 out of 10 raccoons. That's right. I'm trying to be Native American here. So I give it a 7 out of 10. It's it's okay.
What the fuck is the Native American about a fucking raccoon, motherfucker?
Oh,
I think he's
it-
trying to show that Native Americans don't know how to spell either. Because he's missing an O in his raccoons there.
I think we need this.
He's got raccons there, people. Raccons. So he's got
Yeah,
7 out of 10 raccons.
exactly. These pre-extinct. These are actually the first of the raccoon kinds, but their names are different from here. That's why I'm just letting you know. This is from my future, so they're called raccoons. So just let you know, guys. The 27 future. So yes, I thought that. So it's a 7 out of 10. I thought the episode was okay. The flashbacks of Kingpin and Maya were the best part about this episode. It was really good. Like it was what the show should have been, as I think a lot of us are saying. When we saw the trailer, but the weak part about episode 4 was just like outside of the flashbacks, with the family stuff. It just I didn't care about that. And yeah, it just didn't build up like too well of the next episode, particularly with the powers, which was really awful. And I will tell you, when we get to episode 5, there was a moment where that was where I did not like the show because they did something that was so stupid. But we'll get into it. So it's a 7 out of 10 raccoons or raccoons, I have to say, from my future.
Cyber, sir, anything you want to say about negatives episode 4? What dragged it down in your rating?
Well, like I was saying before, really these last 3 episodes just really did not, help the series out at all. So, like I said in with episode 3, it just did not do anything for me. It just did not entertain me very much. Like I said earlier, there was the cons or the pros were, of course, the more Kingpin, that great beginning fights, kicking ass of the ice cream man guy. And then, of course, the uncle doing a really good job, too, as well. Yeah, I would have to say that, pretty much it was like the last episode. It just wasn't anything great. So I have to give it 5 out of 10. Golden movie boxes, not raccoons or raccons, because I am not from the year 2099. And also, I'm not Time Cop. And so, yeah, I have to give it, 5 out of 10.
Look, he almost misspelled his 5 out of 10. Almost there, folks. Almost there. Anyway.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go for. Let's see if I can get it to work. Hold on. I'm gonna go with 4.5 bushels of cord. Maize.
Oh.
I'm sorry, maize. As the Choctaw would call it. So 4.5 bushels of maize. And I'll try to think of something really racist for my last rating for the finale that I can add to my that I can add to my rating. As far as my like I said, I don't know what you guys think, but I felt like episode 4 was where I don't know. I don't know. We're not going to find out until later on. How I guess we don't. There's not enough information out there yet to know why there seemed to be. To me, it felt like the writing was tighter and the storytelling was better in the first couple episodes, and it really fell off. So, I mean, from that standpoint, I can see why you would call episode 4 a filler episode. Andre is a pop culture guy. I mean, it makes sense to me. It's sort of like, it doesn't service the finale very well. You got, and that's the thing about it is episode 4 does tie into the finale. And so, going back to when we reviewed Secret Invasion, it's never good when you're going into the finale and the episode before the finale is really bad, right? Or really weak.
Yeah.
And I mean, these were quick episodes. These were short Disney Plus episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I mean, and I do want to point out, I had like said bad things about the opening. I just wanted to say real quick, I changed my mind on that. The yeahs or whatever that do that song in the beginning on the intro are actually really fucking good. I like that song. I do. I actually like it. I think it's not so bad.
I like it too.
Yeah.
I actually listened to the full song. It was pretty good. I mean, the opening titles is way better than Secret Invasion. So because we know that the Secret Invasion opening was made of AI. You know how crazy is that? That last year we're having problem with the AIs in Hollywood, and then Marvel had the audacity to make their opening titles for Secret Invasion with AI technology, which is so ridiculous.
They had ChatGPT make the intro?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. No, it's ugly. It's stupid. I mean, Secret Invasion's opening is bad. Anyway.
Yeah, the Secret Invasion opening was bad.
Yeah.
All right, so episode 6, Maya, right?
Episode 5, not 6.
Episode 5. Jeez, I'm sorry. I'm so used to these being six episode series or whatnot that it's weird calling it saying episode 5. Episode 5, Maya. Now, did you notice did you get the Don't Be a Menace to South Central while Jicky or Juice in the Hood connection? Andrea's when Grandma got the juice back at the end there.
No, but it's very funny you brought that up. Yeah, it definitely reminded me of that now.
She got a little farcical there at the end of the finale. That's all I'm going to say. But I'll start off with you, Mr. Andres, the pop culture guy. Episode 5. Here, let me go ahead and do my quick synopsis like I did for episode 4 real quick. If you guys don't mind. I'll pull it up right now from Wikipedia. And I'll just kind of read off what they have. And then we'll go ahead and break it down real quick and whatnot. And I'll get you guys' thoughts on it. Come on, ChatGPT. Okay. So Maya, directed by Sidney Freeland. Oh, this one was written by Amy Rardin, and Stephen Paul. Judd and Ellen Morton, and Chantel M. Wells. In a flashback to her childhood, Maya hits a woodpecker with a slingshot. Taloa reprimands Maya for hurting innocent life. Okay, Taloa is the mother. And with her hands glowing, heals the woodpecker. Later, the two release it back into the wild. Now, how Echo never remembered that her mother had magic too, I don't know. They never really announced. They never explained that to us. Biscuit messages Maya that Chula and Bonnie are missing, and she returns to Tamaha. She quickly visits Chula's home and is met by a vision of her mother, Taloa. Taloa tells her that she is the embodiment of their people's legacy, and that this legacy will echo through her actions. The vision ends, revealing Chula's finished garment. At the Choctaw Powwow Festival, Maya locates Fisk, who has kidnapped Chula and Bonnie, who is forever kidnapped. She's kidnapped in every episode, essentially, Bonnie, even though she's a cop, and threatens to kill her entire family for betraying him.
Firefighter.
Firefighter. Biscuit incapacitates Fisk's men with a monster truck, while Henry kills Zane. Maya shares her Choctaw powers with Chula and Bonnie, who overpower Fisk's men. Using her powers, Maya takes Fisk to the memory of his father beating his mother in an effort to heal his trauma and help him let go of his anger. Returning to reality, an outraged Fisk demands to know what she did to him and leaves the festival before the police arrive. The next day, Maya says goodbye to her family before leaving Tamaha. In a mid-credit scene, Fisk is on his airplane watching with interest a news story about a lack of a frontrunner in the New York mayoral elections. So, Andre's the pop culture guy, sir.
Sure.
Maya, episode 5. Your highlights, sir. What do you got to say?
I mean, like, is there a highlight for this episode? I guess no. I guess I will say the one highlight that was generally good was seeing Kingpin in his knees. Like, at least that was like like a good moment seeing Kingpin being affected by Maya, like going through his past. You know, like it was okay. You know, I don't like how we get to there, but you know, seeing Kingpin being kind of shocked and feel violated was like okay. Uh, and then um and then the last highlight
Seeing
is
Kingpin on his knees, being shocked and violated and everything and whatnot.
yes. I mean, I'm trying here, folks. I mean, there's no like big highlights. There's no big highlights at all in this episode. I mean, it's so bad. So
That sounds more like a shower scene in prison with men with the bar of soap.
yeah. Well, I was thinking more like they violate you by taking your pride and like your hope of the world. The way you were saying, Jeff. But anyway, and then last thing is the mid credit scene. I thought that was good. That was a good setup for Daredevil born again. So like that was another highlight. But yeah, that's it. I love that you brought that clip. That's so funny. He's like, break yourself. Give me your number. It's like what?
I wanted to play the clip with Ice Pick.
What? The part where you say like, oh, I don't care that I go to
I'm
jail,
not afraid to fuck a man in the ass or whatever in the shower.
and then everyone's like, and the girls say like, nah, I'm leaving. Oh, that movie is so funny. Oh my god, you have to show the part where was it when the Waynes go to the cell and then he has this talk with this random Jamaican person or whatever, and like like the red steak, blue steak, and whatever.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, let's just
I
to
gotta
show
play
this.
now that you talked about Kingpin.
I'm mad.
Y'all, come on, man. Y'all ain't never been in the shower with a man and you see the suds roll down the crack of his ass and you just be fooling y'all. I was fooling y'all.
So you're right. You're not fooling your friends. They know you were like serious about it.
All right. I'm sorry about that. Andreas,
Yep.
any other highlights for episode 4 other than lowlights? Episode 5, I'm sorry, the finale.
No, that's it. It's just Kingpin getting violated, and then the mid credit scene. That's it. That's all I have to say for this episode.
Okay. Cyber, sir, was there anything positive about episode 5 at all?
The only thing that was positive was that post-credit scene showing them going to Daredevil Born Again, which should be a way better show. Other than that, the whole stupid ending, this whole dumb episode ending, oh my god. It's just the stupidest fucking thing ever. That's all I got to say about that. It's just so stupid. So stupid.
Well, I'll let you start right there, sir. Where does the stupidity begin?
The stupidity begins when all of a sudden, somehow, all these dead people are resurrected to her in this final climactic sequence. And, like, they all put their powers together, and then you get your grandma juicing and shit. And it just from the get-go, this whole episode just was like you're waiting for this to happen. You know, after every single episode having that intro to these different people that have these powers that are supposed to represent a piece of Maya, and you're just kind of like, oh, please just stop. Just stop, please. And they all culminate in this episode. Very lackluster fighting in the end. I'm sorry, the whole having Kingpin get submitted by you using that power was the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen. I was like, are you kidding me? This is fucking Kingpin. This bastard kid is basically kind of like a smarter version of Juggernaut. And you tell me that her just putting her hand on his head is going to make him have these memories happen. I was just like, no, I'm sorry. This just not what happened with Kingpin. I'm sorry. It was just utterly dumbly written. And I don't know why they decided to go this route and have basically make Kingpin a pussy, basically. And you're just kind of like, okay, this is supposed to be the badass motherfucker that is supposed to be the, the street level head honcho Thanos. And yet you're having him get submitted by this chick that's deaf to begin with and an amputee at the end of the episode, season. And I'm just like, my brain hurt after watching this episode because it just was so poorly created and poorly made. And, up to that point, the first 4 episodes, as we've all said, they were pretty mediocre. They were pretty decent. They weren't horrible, for most part, but they were, it was kind of entertaining to a certain point. But this finale just killed it. And I think just really, ruined the whole 5-episode launch with how crappy of an ending they gave it.
Maybe the worst finale ever, or the worst Disney Plus finale ever. I mean, honestly, I only saw it one time. I don't know if I want to watch it again, to tell you the truth, because, really, like you said it. I'll go to you, Andres. I mean, from the minute that all those white vans rolled in with the thugs, and the one guy said some classic 90s action movie like dialogue, and he was like, all right, let's roll, or whatever, right? Let's do it, or whatever, some shit. I'm like, come on now. I was like, really? Seriously? Okay. And then the one dude who could have been he could have got the one guy, right, that was at the powwow, that I thought they were going to give him a sniper rifle or whatever. Then they gave him an actual rocket launcher. But that one thug, Zane, he's another character that if they would have had more time, they could have done more with him. I liked him in trailer 2, right? In trailer 1 and whatnot and everything. He seemed like an interesting sub boss under Kingpin, right?
Yeah. I liked him in episode 3. He had a personality, which I liked. Yeah, he was completely lucid. He was underutilized in this episode, which was so sad. It's
no, it was the whole laying out of the episode, and I think it's the shortest episode of the season.
37 minutes.
Yeah. Is it even that long?
Yeah, it's just 37 minutes. So
we got to remember though, the end credits on their own are 5 minutes.
Yeah, but I mean, people don't stick around with the credits. I mean,
no, I'm just saying that's how short the episodes really are, though. Is that they were short? I mean, they were Hawkeye level episodes. They really were kind of in the Hawkeye range, if I remember correctly.
Sort of. I feel like Secret Invasion was the shortest ones. I don't know.
It's got to be close. But I'll go to you close. Though, Andreas. What are your thoughts? What was the downfall of the finale?
Okay, so I was paying attention. I rewatched some of these episodes, and I rewatched the finale because I was dozing off because I'm very busy today, and the moment when I saw the grandma and the cousin, the firefighter, getting powers from the ancestors, that was where I was like, no. They were crossing the line for me. They were going to give them abilities. I was like, what? And then Jeff, you brought up the mom healed the bird. I was like, what? Really? So you told me this is why changing the power was stupid, because now everyone has these powers. It's why did you change that power? I was so baffled, and I was so turned off the moment that I saw that in this finale that everyone can have these abilities, and I was like, no way, you cannot do that. And then what was worse, and I agree with Cyber, and like I don't like it either. The way
What turns you off more, that Captain Bree, or that part of the episode?
Oh, I thought you were gonna bring the Chloe Zhao clip. That was the other option. Oh my god. I will say I'll take Captain Bree over this show.
Exactly.
To be honest here, like I was just so belittled what they were doing. Like, okay, like I'm not
Captain
against,
Marvel was better than Echo.
like at least like at least he has like a more convincing powers, and like she
Was
got
the movie better? Was the movie better than the series?
Yes. I mean, first off, Captain Marvel has Talos, who's my favorite character in the MCU. You got Samuel L. Jackson, who was great as always, and he was great in the first Captain Marvel movie. And you got Monica's mom. She was great. So like you got three characters I like. There were good action scenes. Like I mean the train scene was really good and action packed. I mean, it was cool to see Captain Marvel crashing through the Kree ships and all that. There were a couple of fire scenes. Like there's much more like bigger moments in Captain Marvel that I like than this show has. Like this show has little moments that were good, but none of it is just are bigger to make it great. And and I'm sorry. Like I agree with everyone. Like Kingpin getting infected by Maya with the glowy hands just does not work. It just doesn't make sense. So yeah, when everyone got their like her family got the powers, that was where I was turned off by the finale. And you should never do that. Like Maya should be the only one that got the powers. That's it. Not everyone else. That doesn't make sense. Like I'm fine with changing powers, but you have to set it up in a way that makes sense, you know? And
I'm still trying to figure out what happened. Did Maya give him powers? Isn't that what happened? Didn't she like infuse them with the powers?
No, she did the Professor X and Legion type of like she went into his mind and tried to like.
Oh no, that I get that part. But what I'm saying is did Echo actually give the powers to Grandma and Bonnie?
No.
Or did she have the power? Did they have the powers too?
They have the powers too. Like it seems like the ancestors are connected to the family, and they will.
Oh.
Besides them, like you know how like an angel like looks over upon you. It's literally like that. Like they're the angels looking upon the family, and it's like, oh, okay.
I would like if they would have had a big Indian orgy, because I've never banged an Indian chick, a Native American chick. So I would have liked it if they all just would have got gay. That would have saved the finale.
So, let's say now, do I get Vision's powers if I play with White Vision's penis? Like if it gets inserted, or if I accidentally swallow it somehow, do I get his powers?
Okay, well, for one thing, sir, I mean, how you would end up swallowing White Vision's penis, unless maybe you were like, on your knees, invulnerable, like Wilson Fisk in the finale of Echo.
No,
I don't know.
Vision flies, so I mean, he could be flying by and just accidentally slapped in the face or something.
That's actually good. That's a good. I'm glad you mentioned that. I wonder if having a penis now is actually throwing off his flying abilities, right? Like because it adds. There's more drag there.
Yeah,
possibly.
It's possible. I don't feel more superpowered since I found White Vision's penis. I'll put it to you that way. So I was the first one that initially touched it, and my life doesn't feel any more altered. Like my penis didn't get bigger or anything, or I certainly did. If I could share powers with you guys like Echo, I would, believe me. Whatever the fuck that was. But all right, so let's just go ahead and do our ratings for the finale, and then we can just talk about the series, and we'll do our all of our credits and whatnot and everything, and our plugs, and we'll get out of here. But basically, if you guys want to do your final thoughts on the finale and give me your ratings, I'll start with you, Andreas. I'll go to you, Cyber, and then we'll kind of do like a kind of a recap for the whole season, and we'll just kind of rate that too. What do you got for me there, Mr. Andres, pop culture guy?
Well, so this is a tough one. Well, not really. It's not a tough one. So I'll give it. I'm gonna keep it raccoons. So Crest the 7. I'll give this, as I think Cyber and Jeff have been doing this. Let me get rid of my background because you need to see this properly, which is annoying. Okay, so cross this out. Gave you guys a 5 out of 10 raccoons. So it's really bad. I agree. It's one of the worst finales. I mean, I still maintain that Secret Invasion's finale is the worst out of the Disney Plus Marvel shows, but this is close second to that, which is so sad, and unfortunate. But at least we didn't have a big overall bad CGI fight, which was a good thing. But then the sad thing is, like, we didn't have cool action scenes or anything like that in this finale, which is so annoying. And please do not give people powers. Do not do that. You're crossing the line there. It's like, oh my god, please don't. So yeah, 5 out of 10, folks. I want to get out of here. Let's talk more about the series, its potential, its downfall, and then we do some plugs, and then we get out of here. Bye now.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right. So I'll give you my rating right now. Let's see.
I'll bet it's a 4 out of 10.
It'll be easier on with the white background. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
There we go. 2.2.5.
Woke points.
There you go. 2.25 woke points, baby. And that's all I got. I'm only giving the 0.25 because there was like I would totally bang Cousin Bonnie. I'm giving 0.25 just because I bang Cousin Bonnie, like just based off the limited, like, you know, her character sucks in the show, like it really blows, but so does she, I'm sure. So there you go. 0.25 for you, Bonnie. What do you got, sir?
Okay. I'm gonna give it a solid 2. I give it 2 only because of the mid-credit scene showing Fisk in the mayor electoral thingy majigger. So that shows great potential for, you know, Daredevil Borgen. So I give it a solid 2 because of that sequence only. Everything else I thought was just no good. No good at all.
Okay. So as far as the actual season goes, now this character, of course, is coming off of Hawkeye, which we've all individually, all three of us have covered Hawkeye, you know, which it seems like eons ago, but we did. This character that Maya Lopez, that Alka Cox played, who they brought her in on the premise where they cast this character looking for a deaf Native American actress to play this role. That was their net. Like that, those were the parameters of the specifications, whatever, whatnot, of what they were looking for when they brought in Alka Cox, right? So, it was very narrow. I don't imagine that there was a ton of competition for her. I don't know, but I don't imagine there was a ton of competition for her, probably, really, for this role. Basically, going over to you, Cyberneticshark, sir. As far as the season goes, if you want to, just kind of expound and kind of do maybe like a season rating, if that's fair, and we'll switch it up. Instead of doing 1 through 10, we'll do a 1 through 5 for the season. just to make things interesting. And then just if you want to expound just on the season itself, the 1 through 5 episodes and whatnot, feel free.
All right. So basically, expanding on this, like I've said from the get-go, it just was not as good as it could have been. Like we all said, really solid trailer to begin with. That made us very excited for the series. But from get-go, it started out good and then kind of just ran downhill, and just became a pile of garbage. And as we have, as you had said, 2.25 woke points. I would give it, a season woke point of 5, because that's pretty much where it went. But overall, like I said, as we've all have said, there were good parts in several of the different episodes. All pretty much always have to do with either Kingpin himself or the actor that played the uncle, who did a really good job. I still maintain the first episode still is my favorite episode of the 5-episode arc. So the fact it's the only episode that has Daredevil in it. And, of course, we didn't get any more of him because we might have if we had gone 8 episodes versus 5. But at the same time, it just each episode, the whole beginning kind of montage of all the, the Native American heritage, I just think was so unnecessary to change this character up to give her these special powers. Pretty much, if they wanted to go this route, they could have totally, did one episode where they showed all 5 of these characters all of them have powers and say, oh, she now inherits the powers. And that would have been fine if that had, they had done that and, decided to go that route, still, I think it was, it still does not follow the comic book accuracy, but I think that would have made it a little bit more enjoyable if it wasn't the focus of each episode to start off with. As we were talking when we did episode 2, lacrosse, football, soccer, whatever the hell that sport was, we all, as we said, I was watching a sporting event. Yeah, that's not what I was trying to watch. I'm trying to watch a Marvel character here, not a history lesson. So once again, 5, woke points for the whole season. Overall season points or rating, I'd have to give 1 out of 5. I have to give it 3 in the middle for me, because like I said, there were a few things that were great. The ice cream man being kicked and killed. And then of course the Daredevil sequence of the first episode, and then any of the Kingpin moments, except for the Kingpin moments in the very season finale or series finale, I like to call it. So yeah, that's pretty much my expounding on the Echo TV series.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, they already had to have Daredevil do the walk of shame, right? Like we already had that. We had Daredevil do the walk of shame. And at the end of She-Hulk, and now you got to have the same thing happen to Kingpin. He's got to get Dom too. Like, why can't they clean these fucking finales up so these male characters can maintain some fucking integrity, as men?
Well, actually, to be honest here. At least Kingpin didn't change at the end. Like he resisted the change from Maya's powers, where Daredevil was actually got dirty by She-Hulk. So technically, Kingpin actually got out of the show well than Daredevil did. So
you're right.
So,
That's true. But you agree though, right? Daredevil did the walk of shame. He did at the end of She-Hulk and whatnot, everything, and that don't make no sense because in the Daredevil Netflix, you don't have to have watched more than a couple episodes to find out that just like in the comics, Matt Murdock, for whatever reason, well, I guess because he's probably a handsome lawyer guy or whatever, whatnot, everything, right? And he's mysterious or whatever. He gets a lot of tail, right? He don't do the walk of shame from chicks' houses or whatever, You know what I'm saying? Like that was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah,
But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he was like that. I mean, besides the Walk of Shame, like Daredevil was the best thing about that episode. She-Hulk, like that's still my favorite from that. Like,
Oh yeah, no. Going over to you, Andre. Same thing. Same thing that I just ran by Cyber. If you just want to drop your rating for the season,
yeah,
1
sure.
to 5, and just your final thoughts on the season.
Okay, I will give this a 3 out of 5. Really, it's not great, but it's not that bad. Um, I think it could have been a lot worse. Compared to other Disney Plus Marvel shows failures like Secret Invasion, or I mean, She Hulk, and somewhat What If season 2. But this show at least gave us like a much more grounded show. But then that's the issue. So, like speaking of changing powers, I personally think they should not have gone to giving Echo her powers. Like they should just kept her grounded. Like just like her being deaf and being a good trained assassin or trained hit person is more compelling than having her this magical power. Like it was so out of left field for the show. That was the thing I was shocked about when we were getting into the show. It was like magic is getting involved. And I was like, what's going on here? And as like Saber was kind of like alluding to, like it was going to get weirder, and it got weirder, but they didn't, pay off at all with the magic stuff. So I felt like they should have never gone to this direction of giving Echo her powers. The fact that they were going to change it from the comics. So I was like, kind of just surprised they did that. So I personally thought the show should have been more grounded and be more like the Daredevil show, like be this really grounded TV show that we were kind of expected from that trailer we saw, and we kind of were lied to. And like this could have been like the Killers of the Flower Moon of Marvel, if you think about it. Like the flashbacks could be more just realistic, of like giving us the history of the really the violent history of what happened to the Native Americans. Like that could have been way more interesting than learning about this ancestor from Maya's family background. But yeah, I agree with Cyber. Like there were great big moments, smaller moments that helped the show like be better than some of the Disney Plus shows. I think they had a much better villain than some of the Disney Plus shows. Like having Kingpin here was a good decision, and like he helped like elevate the show to a better show. I mean, Vincent D'Onofrio, a great actor. He really delivered as Kingpin. I think he's used to, like they used this character better than Hawkeye. I say before. But I didn't like how they did to the character in the finale. But it wasn't as bad as the Walk of Shame thing with Daredevil. So we'll leave it at that. I thought we haven't talked about the actress, the Maya Lopez character. I thought that she was better than Hawkeye. I think her performance here was much better than Hawkeye. I would say, like at least it was like tolerable. Like it wasn't great, but like it was tolerable. So I think she was really good. I think she surprised me actually throughout the series. I really enjoyed how you say Maya's grandma's ex boyfriend. He was a great actor. Really love him. I also love Henry. I will give the Monica Rambeau award to Henry. I feel like he was a great character. Wish he was developed more. I hope we see him again in the future in some other projects to help Maya go against with Kingpin. So, but yeah, overall the show had great potential, but it took the wrong direction, and I think it made it worse for this character to continue on. So that's my opinion.
I agree with you. I think that I probably would give my Monica Rambeau award to Henry too. Cyber, you have any thoughts on that?
On the Monica Rambeau award?
Yeah, I'd forgotten about it. I'm glad you mentioned it, Andreas.
I mean, I guess out of all the characters, I definitely have to agree to give it to Henry. Simple fact that out of all the characters, his definitely was the best performed besides Graham Greene. So I'd have to say that it's a tie between Graham Greene and Henry for me.
Do you now, Cyber? Do you think we're going to see any of these characters besides Echo pop back up in the MCU?
It's hard to say because it's a yes or no because you have, there's a good chance you could see him again. There's a good chance you couldn't see him again. I think out of any of the characters from Echo besides Echo herself, I definitely think the grandmother will probably pop up again, and definitely probably Graham Greene's character. I think those two, out of any of them, more than likely you would see them again. Other than that, I don't know because there's a lot of these characters that we say we'd love to see again, and yet they never bring them back. So there's a good chance maybe Henry would pop up again because he works for Fisk. But other than that, I don't foresee really any of these characters being seen again.
What do you think, Andreas?
I kind of agree with Cyber. I think the grandma and the ex-boyfriend will definitely come back in a cameo. But I think the most recurring character out of the cast will definitely be Henry because he has worked with Fix, so it makes a lot of sense. I can see Henry being the microchip for Maya in her journey to go against Kingpin. If you think about it, like because Henry is like the guy in the chair, so I think he's definitely going to come back in some certain projects. So that I'm happy.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what, folks? That's pretty much it then. That's going to be our wrap up for Echo for this year. As I already mentioned earlier, I didn't mention that we have The Rock to review this Friday. And we actually have a new guest, a new collaborator coming on for the first time. His name is Jim, and I'll be honest with you, I have his information written down, but I don't have it right in front of me right now for the podcast that he's on. But all he does is review movies, so he should be a great fit for us. I talked to the guy on the phone and whatnot and everything, so I mean, he seems like a pretty solid fella. Let's see. Next week after that, we have John Wick next Friday. We do have a DC animated film to review next Wednesday. Which one was it again? Which one did you say it was, Cyber?
Batman Year One.
Batman Year One. Okay, so we got Batman Year One next Wednesday. Andres and I are back on next Monday. We've got X-Men animated episodes, what? 7 and 8?
Yeah, 7, 8.
And then probably going to talk about Supergirl casting, I imagine.
Yeah.
Right? And the Fantastic Four casting might be released by the time that we get to then. So we'll have that coming up.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
It might happen. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and do plugs and get the hell out of here, folks. We hope that, y'all will support the MCU'S Bleeding Edge, of course. We're almost at 40,000 subscribers. So we appreciate, all of y'all out there considering supporting the MCU'S Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast. We're going to start off with Mr. Andres, the pop culture guy. Andreas, if I can, hold on, my bad. If I can just pull up your thing real quick.
Yeah,
there we go.
Okay. Hello everyone. This is Andreas, pop culture guy. Yeah, just saw a minute ago my channel page right there. I'm up to 882 subscribers, which is awesome. So I got increased a couple weeks ago by 3 points, which is good. I just recently posted my birthday tribute to Batman, aka played by Christian Bale. Christian Bale's birthday was yesterday, so check that out. And starting tomorrow, February 1st, I'm gonna post the part 5 of Shang-Chi, the Master of Kung Fu, the 6-part Midi Max series back in 2003. So I'm gonna finish up the series in February, so that's good. And of course, watch out for February 2nd, which is on, I think, a Saturday, where I'm gonna post my top 10 favorite Green Lantern villains. So pretty much a lot of content going to come in the first few days in February. So please check that out. And plus, live, you can check out our last live stream, Don't Be a Menace. That was really
Woo!
fun. And look at that. It's climbing up, so I'm very happy with that. I'm going to discuss to Jeff what's going to be our next live stream for this Sunday. I'm thinking we're going to do is a top 10 DCEU ranking. I feel like we should do that because now that Aquaman 2 is pretty much done in the theaters, and we should a farewell to the DCU and discuss the ups and downs of that franchise, and then rank our top 10 favorite DCU films. So we'll discuss that with Jeff after this program or Friday. But anyway, thank you everyone, and please support me in Cyber to reach the mark for 2024. So it'll be very beneficial.
Definitely. We'd like to see it. We'd like to see the 1,000 subscriber mark happen for Cybernetic Shark and for Andre's a Pop Culture Guy, who are both veteran content creators, both veteran YouTubers, and quite frankly have more experience on YouTube than I do. But Cybernetic Shark, sir, how are things going on over at Cybernetic Shark's YouTube channel?
All right. They're going fine, people. Keep putting stuff up for you guys to check out. Just released my worst of 2023, so definitely check that out. I also put up my Inside Out 2 teaser trailer reaction, so definitely check that out. And of course, if you enjoy me here on the MCU'S Bleeding Edge, definitely go check out that content you can find me, Cyberneticshark, under YouTube. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, all those great places. I'll be having more videos come up soon for you guys. Have a few more reviews coming out for you guys of some newer films that came out in the last month or so. So working on those. Eventually, I will be seeing The Beekeeper. So keep an eye out for a review on that guy, because I definitely was looking forward to seeing that eventually. And yeah, definitely keep watching the little shorts. You'll be seeing some more shorts pop up here eventually here soon of newer stuff that I have not seen. And yeah, it's a work in progress. Currently at 732. So let's get that to that magic 1,000 mark. Me and Mr. Andreas, and keep on kicking, people. If you haven't subscribe, people.
There you go. All right, folks. We love all of you out there. God bless you. We'll see you in the next one. Peace. We out of here.